Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 392 of How Do You Write? And I'm so excited that you are here with me today as we are talking to Nigar Alam, and you are going to love the episode. We are going to be talking about going backward to go forward, no matter where you are. And that's coming up, but I'm really excited. You can hear it in my voice. This is an episode I'm going to push out really quickly, like right now, because you have today and tomorrow, or later if you want to push it. But I just decided spur of the moment, and I told my writers list last night. So if you're not on my email writing list, you should be on it. You can go to rachelherron.com/write to get on it. But I'm going to do NaNoWriMo. I had mentioned that before, but I'm going to lead some nano games, and I want you to be part of it. And that is why this is time sensitive. I want you to join right now. If you have never done NaNoWriMo, if you don't even know what it is, here's what it is. National Novel Writing Month. NaNoWriMo is the month of November when we participate in this free online lark where we write a book. We write a 50,000 word novel in the month of November. Or we rebel and we do whatever the heck we want, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to be writing 50,000 words of a book about writing. Can I do this? I don't know. It's freaking me out, but it's a book I really, 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 really want to write. And I could easily set this to the side and try for a few days and not get there. And I've done that a lot in Nano over the years. My first year was 2006. I participated in most Nanos, and I don't know, I probably have succeeded in half of them. Like succeeded meaning hit my goal, whatever it was I set it for. And I don't want to do that this year. I want to hit it, which means I need accountability. And maybe you need accountability. This is for you if you have ever thought about doing Nano and were too scared to do it. This is for you if you want to do it, but you don't even have an idea. Who cares? Let's channel Chris Beatty, the original founder of NaNoWriMo, who said famously and wrote a book about it, no plot, no problem. Show up and just start writing. Nano is not about quality. Nano is about quantity of words. It is about getting so many words on the page that later we want to go arrange them while doing revision. But we do not revise anything during the month of November. We just write our little hands off. That is 1,667 words a day. I might do a little bit of a reverse Nano where I do some big days up ahead so that I can have some days off later on in the month because that's important to me. Or I might not. I might not be able to do that. But I want to do this with people. So I want you to join me. Totally free, totally fun. There's no upsell on this. I just want to party. I just want to have a Nano party. Our Wellington municipal liaison, unfortunately, is unwell, and we will not be having Wellington events. Could I be the Nano ML in Wellington? No, I could not. I do not have the time for that, but I do have the time to be a municipal liaison for us. So what does it mean? Here's what it means. Here's what you should do. If this is interesting to you at all, go to rachelherron.com/nano with me. All one word. NANO with me. rachelherron.com, Nano with me. Go there right now. That will take you to my Slack channel. Sign up for the Slack channel if you're not already in it, and then go to the NaNoWriMo channel and say hello. Congratulations, you're in. Now we're doing it together. We're going to be talking in there every day about how we are doing, how we are going, and how much fun we are having, and how hard it is sometimes, and how awesome it is sometimes. Also, I want to write with you. So please come Zoom write. I'm going to hold 4 of these every Thursday of November from 4 p.m. Pacific or 7 p.m. Eastern for 1 hour. We will spend 50 minutes writing and 10 minutes chatting about how we're doing. So there you go. We're going to have a virtual write-in every week, except for Thanksgiving. Not on Thanksgiving Thursday, because none of you would show up and I don't want to be alone in the room. But every other day, every other Thursday, we will write for an hour. And that last Thursday, we're going to have a party. We're not going to be writing together in that last Thursday. On the 30th of November, we're going to be celebrating. And I have a particular idea for how to run this celebration. So it doesn't matter if you can or cannot come to the Zoom write-in. That's just a bonus. That's just for fun if you can, because I know it might not work with your schedule. Totally okay. But be in the Slack group. Be in there talking with us about how it is going and what wild and fanciful rides you are taking, whether you are writing fiction or nonfiction. Traditionally, NANO is a novel, National Novel Writing Month, but it does not have to be. I'm on the writer's board. I can tell you that. You could be a rebel. Also, so go to rachelherron.com/nano with me. And if this is your first time, or if you haven't set up your project yet, go to NaNoWriMo.org, NaNoWriMo.org, and set up your free account there. Declare your project. Tell us a working title. Tell us what you want to write about. We will connect over on Slack. We can exchange our handles and we can friend each other over on the NaNoWriMo.org site, which is fantastic. They have a Discord. They're running sprints all the time. I'm not going to do a Discord, but in Slack, we can do sprints. And it's just about writing fast and having a furiously good time. So please, you want to do that with me? Please help me hit NANO. This is why I'm pushing this episode out right now, and I hope you listen to it in time. And if you're a few days late, jump in anyway. Might be too hard to jump in 2 weeks late, but that's why you should be on my email newsletter. If you're not already, if you're hearing this late, go over to rachelherron.com/write and get on my email newsletter, because I do have these wild hairs where I talk way too fast and I get really excited about doing something. And I want you to play with us and come be on Zoom together. And all the information will be on Slack. When you join the Slack group, it's my Onward Writer group, and then the NaNoWriMo channel. When you join that, the Zoom link will be in there, and then you just show up to the Zoom and we write. And it's awesome. It's like Rachel says, right, except it's going to be just for us, for NANO people. The special, wild, weird NANO people. I'm really excited about it. I can hardly sit still. So please, you want to do that? Okay, great. Fantastic. What's going on around here? I don't know. Just that. I'm wildly excited. So let's get into Nigar's bio, because that's really important too. Born in Karachi, Pakistan, Nigar Alam spent her childhood in Turkey, Nigeria, Italy, Kenya, Indonesia, and the United States before returning to Karachi. With an MBA and a CPA, she has worked in both brand management and auditing. Currently, Alum teaches at Anoka-Ramsey Community College and lives with her family in Minnesota. Under the Tamarind Tree is at once an atmospheric tale about the echoes of partition and a propulsive page turner about 4 friends, dark secrets, and a life-changing night that haunts them decades later. So let's go talk about writing with Alum right now. It's fantastic. What a great episode. And maybe hit pause real quick, use your phone, just go there right now, rachelherron.com/nano with me. Let's do this together. Okay, my friends, I'll see you in Slack. All right. Okay, bye. Well, I could not be more pleased to welcome you to the show today. Will you please share your name and your pronouns with us?
My name is Nigar Alam, and my pronouns are she, her.
Welcome, Nigar. I'm so happy to have you here today. We're going to be talking about your gorgeous, very new book, Under the Tamarind Tree. And by the time this comes out, the book will be out. So how has this release cycle felt and acted for you?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. And this release cycle is the only one I know, so I can't compare
I
to
I
any
was
other
just
one.
looking around and I couldn't see the word debut jumping out at me anymore. So this is your debut then?
It is, absolutely. It's my debut. It's not my first novel, but
Yeah.
it's my first published novel. Yes.
And how has it all been feeling? How's it been going?
It feels unreal, very much dreamlike, because it's been quite a journey. And sometimes you just get things when you're not expecting them in a good way. And that's what this has been
Like what?
entirely.
What
Well,
what surprises you?
well, this surprised me that when I did get agented, it was on the first 50 or so pages of an unfinished manuscript.
And that is
And
not common anymore.
not at all. And this wasn't long ago. This was 2020. So I don't
Yeah.
even know if it was common then, but I felt very lucky. It was very unexpected. And it was a mentorship that I had applied for. And to get one of the things you get when you get into the mentorship is agent representation. So that was a lovely
Wow.
surprise.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. And how did it feel to hold the first copy or ARC in your hands? I love to ask this question.
I just kept on like rubbing my hands all over it.
Yeah,
Is that normal? I don't
I think so.
know. Okay, I wanted to rub my
Smell
face
it.
all
I
over it.
remember
Yes,
smelling my first book.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I behaved. It was wonderful. Yes.
It's so interesting that we do have such a tactile, physical response to that first copy of our book, because this is all of our work collected into one place. And we could flip the pages and look at all those words. And I always have that feeling like, I did that. I came up with all those words. How did I do that? So,
Absolutely. It's like it's a real book, like a real
real
life
book.
book.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, in order to get that real life book out into the world, what does your writing process look like? Where and how do you get it all done?
Well, my writing process is actually a lot of thinking first. And I count that. One year I did
Yeah.
NaNoWriMo and I counted my thinking hours.
Yes.
It was probably cheating on my
Not at
part.
all. Thinking is
Okay.
writing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for saying that.
I am on the
So,
NaNoWriMo Writers Board, so I officially dispense you with that.
okay, that is great to know. Yes.
I'm sure you've
I
been waiting for
wasn't
that. Yeah.
cheating. I
You were
wasn't
not
cheating.
cheating. No.
Okay. So I do spend several months, like many months, just thinking and uh, figuring out with the time period and the setting, what story can there be and what character can there be? What would the motivation be and what would they want? So basically,
Mm.
very big picture, just let it stew. I do research to get an idea of that time and place. And it's just a lot of thinking. So I don't spend too much time in my study where I am now,
Mhm.
because I feel that this is where I do the drafting. I
Yeah.
sit on an armchair somewhere or on a sofa. I stare out the window. I call that work. It's just lovely. Yeah.
What kind of tools do you use for that early pre-work, the thinking work? Are you one of those people who holds everything in your head, or do you use, your phone? How are you capturing the ideas and the research that you're doing?
So the research is very much online or
Mhm.
books if I'm
Yeah.
reading nonfiction. But how I gather the ideas is so basic. It's taking a loose leaf piece of paper like this one with the three holes on one side. I just turn it horizontally and I draw like a bicycle wheel. I put my character in the center and then there's spokes going out, or maybe it's a cobweb, one of
Uh-huh.
those two. And then I connect them all. I have to figure out how it all connects. So it's a little bit like a puzzle. So this is my
I
main
like
character in the middle. What does she want and why? Very, very basic questions right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then who are the other people in her world and what do they want? And then how do they connect to each other? And so it's just, that's what I've done. I've written two so far, and I somehow ended up doing the same thing, even though I thought I would be very uh, plotter oriented the second time. I would just map it out completely, write a very detailed outline like Roman numeral one, A, B, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah. No, no, no. I like how you say though that was such a basic answer to do, but I've never heard anybody do that, the drawing of the wheel. So our main character's in the center with what she
Mhm.
wants or needs. And then at the outside edge of this bicycle wheel, is it all other characters or is it plot points or both or
It's characters. It's
oh
just
cool.
characters. Yeah, because I think that's where I begin. I don't get to the
Yeah.
plot until I start drafting.
Yeah.
I don't plot it out. I just can't. I will freeze if I try to do that. I'll just stare at a blank page. So
So you
it's
really
all
are
character.
really completely character driven to the point where it does look like that bicycle wheel in your head. Like, and that to me, that just
It
symbolizes the
does.
motion that's coming.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I must be. Yes, even
Oh,
though I love
cool.
plot. I love
Yeah.
plot. I want a lot of things happening too, but they're driven by the character.
Oh, that is beautiful. Okay. So what is your biggest challenge when it comes to doing the writing?
It is it is absolutely the first draft when
Mm.
I am trying to hit all the plot points and um, make it interesting. I actually have to use that Pomodoro method because
Yeah, me too.
I just can't get moving.
Can you tell people
So
who might not know what Pomodoro is, what it is?
it's a timing method that you can use, set a timer for 20 minutes or 25, and then 5-minute break, whatever works for you. But once the timer starts, just start writing, and no research, no thinking, just fingers moving, and whatever comes out on the page, that's it. And you know it's going to end soon. So it's not too painful. You know it'll end. And that's just how to get words on the page for me in
I,
small little bites.
I
Yeah.
think that's the most important part of the Pomodoro, is that you know it will end, because writing, and I'm entirely with you, first drafts are the worst for me. And I've written so many books in 15 to 25-minute chunks, sometimes 45. If I'm feeling really strong and brave, it's a 45 on, 15 off. But otherwise, it's just all I can do
Wow.
to stay conscious through that, 20 minutes.
Yeah. 45 on is amazing. I think that's, you don't need the method then. You're good.
I still do, because I'm waiting for that bell. And I always listen to people with awe who say, like, and if I'm in a flow at the end of the Pomodoro, I'll just keep going. No, it's like a bell that springs me out of my chair. I'm done. I'm free. I could do
Yes.
something else for a moment. Yeah, that's awesome. So what is your biggest joy when it comes to writing?
I do love revision. I don't know if I'm the only one who does, but I love it so much because
I'm with you.
it takes a lot of thinking. When I open that letter, you have to take a deep breath because it's going to hurt also.
Hurt so much.
Hurt so much. And I sit with it for maybe a week, and until I feel that they were my revisions, I can internalize them, and I'm like, yes, I get it. And I so often I get it because they're just smart people who can do better and see more in my writing than I can. I'm just too close to it.
They're the experts in this whole editing thing. We're the writers, but they're the expert editors. So I love thinking about and talking about revision letters. And I think I know what I do is I look and I see the praise that they put in there, and I immediately forget it out of the pain nuclear detonation of, like the critique, which is what I want, but I can't quite handle it yet. I need that time like you do. What do you do with that pain, that essential pain that hits you when you first read the critique in the revision letter?
I can't even read it in one go. I kind of
Me
skim
neither.
it. Yeah, I can't. It's like I look at it and then I look away.
One eye
And
closed.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. This is lovely because it feels kind of childish. Like, you have to read it. So why are you hiding? But yeah, it's just little sentences here and there. And it's very nice of them to sandwich the critique with praise.
They must
Lovely.
know. Of course they know. And I was just talking to somebody the other day. I don't open my manuscript at all. I don't look at anything in the manuscript until it's been about a week with the revision letter, and they've become my revisions. But that would actually kill me. All those little staples and nails piercing my soul. Yeah.
I know.
Awesome.
I think I might just delete it all. It would be so painful.
I'll just write a new book. It'll be easier.
Yes.
Can you share a craft tip of any sort with our audience?
Yes, there's one that I really like because since plotting is tough, I don't think it has a name, but you kind of go backwards. You start at the end. And it doesn't have to be at the end of your final draft. It can be your first draft. It can even be, I've used it just for 7 chapters or, something, or just 3 chapters or 3 scenes in the middle somewhere to see, do they even make sense? Are they supposed to be there? So you start at the end. If you're doing Cinderella, for example, Cinderella marries the prince at the end, right? Because, and then you move backwards one scene because the shoe fit, and the shoe fit, and then you go back another scene because she left it on the stairs and it was hers. And then, you go further back because she was at the ball, because the fairy godmother, granted her the wish. And I'm not sure what the story was exactly. It's been a while, but
I love the clarity of that. And I'm also really drawn to the idea of using this wherever you can in the book, because I'm one of those people, I don't know the end until like the second draft, and it's really frustrating. But oftentimes I do know dark moment or the midpoint. And I've never thought about treating that like an ending and working backwards with it, because you could totally do that at any point. If you can see, because she's on the stairs and runs down them as the clock strikes 12, that's all you got. But you can go, why was she on the stairs? Because.
Absolutely. Yes. And you can do it anywhere. And
Yeah.
I am not good at always having the right scene in the right spot. And then you catch it yourself. Or more often than not, I have a useless scene there, that I just
Yeah.
loved and I put there. There was no need for it. So that goes into the extras file. Yeah.
The extras file, the file in which I promise I will use every single word. And then I never do,
Mm.
but I've got to promise myself
Exactly.
it's coming out, because it is genius. It's probably the best thing I ever wrote. Yes. That is a lovely tip, working backwards to go forwards at any point in the manuscript using the power of because. Thank you. That's
Because
gorgeous. What is the kindest thing that anyone's ever done for you in your writing career?
that would have to be what my writing group did. I don't even know if they did it knowingly, or maybe they had a meeting behind my back and they decided to do it. But my first manuscript got into pitch wars, which
Ah,
has now stopped, unfortunately. But I was so lucky to get into pitch wars with that manuscript. And I went through the whole process. And then there was this agent showcase. And I did not get agented. That manuscript didn't get agented.
mhm.
And I had spent 4 years, and that was my first completed novel. I learned a ton on it. And it was really hard
Mhm.
to put it in the drawer because that's what I did. And my writers group, they just they just didn't let me stop, without actually saying don't stop and don't be sad. They
Yeah.
just kept going. And even before all the queries were, I got all the answers to the queries, I was submitting new pages to them, coming up with a new idea. They were gentle, but they were also critiquing like they should be. And so I don't know, but they just kept it going for me. I think I would have taken a really big pause in writing
Mm,
just to
mhm.
recover from that. I couldn't have ever stopped completely, but there would have been a really big gap. And because they just magically comforted me and supported me without pointing out that, hey, that was a disaster. So they were wonderful. Yeah, I definitely credit them for this new manuscript.
That's lovely. Where did you meet the people in this writers group?
So there's this lovely literary center. I live in Minneapolis suburbs, and it's called the Loft Literary
Mm.
Center. And it's such a treasure, I think, for our writing community. I took my first novel writing class there 9 years ago. It was
Mm.
on craft and critique, and then they host conferences, they have author events, they just do a ton. So it was in one of those online classes, actually, that the instructor put three of us together. And that became, years later, a real life meeting writers group. And we added someone to it from outside that class. And that's how that's how my community got built, actually.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so how often do you still meet with them or connect with them?
We don't actually meet anymore. It
Mhm,
lasted for several years, and then
mhm,
everyone was on a different journey at a
mhm.
different, point in their
Yeah.
writing career. So we off and on would still meet, but I think we've looked elsewhere to find the people who we need at this point in our
Thank you
journey.
for saying that. That's such a natural thing. And I think that a lot of us, and I know I've been there before, like we try to hold on to this writing circle and that writing circle, but the group of writers I wrote with, when I was in my 20s in college, I I don't go on Facebook, but I bet I could find them there, but I don't need them anymore. I have different sets and people walk in and out of our lives, but I do believe we have to have that writing community around us. What does your writing community look like now?
It's a lot. I'm still very connected to the people I met initially. Even
Yeah.
my one of my instructors, I still, she was
Mm.
so lovely. She featured me on her blog with this debut. So I'm a member of the WFWA, which is the Women's Fiction Writers Association, and the Crime Writers of Color group. And they're just different groups that have supported me throughout the journey. The Pitch Wars class that I was a part of, we're still connected, on Facebook. Some people have been published, they published several books. Some people are still trying for their debut. So again, but we are still connected. And that's, I think, one good thing of the internet.
Yes.
It keeps us all connected. Yeah.
That's awesome. What is the kindest thing you've ever done for yourself as a writer?
I think when that first book went into the drawer, I told myself that it was just not the right time for that story. And I know that it makes sense. It's logical that that would be a good reason for the manuscript not getting agented. But at that time, I didn't believe that. I took it very personally. I was like, oh, this means I wasn't good enough. But
Right.
I just lied to myself and I said, no, the book wasn't what was needed.
Yes.
So, someone once said to me that writing is like all art, that there's the right book for the right time for the right agent. And so I just told myself that. And I did not believe it at that point at all. But it was the only way to distance myself from the book in the drawer and sort of let myself write another one.
It was such a kindness to tell yourself that felt like a lie, but it really was the truth. That book wasn't right for any of the agents you reached out for at that point. And it had nothing to do with you, even though your heart and soul they were probably screaming like, it's all me. But it's the classic, fake it till you make it. You say the thing until you believe it. And that's how we keep going as writers.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And it would have been so easy not to do that. So well done. Well done, you. And look at you now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, what is the best book that you have read recently, and what did you love about it?
Well, I read across all genres, and so it's really difficult to pick. But one that has had a huge impact was Viola Davis's memoir. It's called Finding. Yes, it's called Finding Me, and it was just so powerful. It was like a gut punch. And I listened to it because she narrates herself. And wow, that feels like an extra bonus to hear her voice, her words in her voice. So it was very sad at times, the poverty and the struggles that she had growing up. But also it was remarkable, the grit and the courage to stop running from it all and find herself, find her passion and who she was. And I mean, ultimately it was very hopeful. So that book still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. I would recommend it to everybody.
That's wonderful. Thank you. I'm a memoir junkie and I have not read that one. So that will go on my list and I will absolutely listen to it because her voice, I would listen to her voice read literally anything. But if it comes to her own powerful memoir, wow.
You will love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaking of things that we will love, will you please tell us about Under the Tamarind Tree?
Yeah. So Under the Tamarind Tree is set in Karachi, Pakistan, and it alternates between the present day and 1964, when the main character, Rosina, and her 3 childhood friends are on the precipice of adulthood, but they're all holding on desperately to secrets. And these secrets lead to a tragic, life-changing night for all of them. And in the present day, a much older Rosina gets a telephone call from someone she hasn't heard from in over 50 years. And this person asks her for a favor that could expose all the secrets of the past and destroy everything she's been trying to protect.
Speaking of goosebumps, oh my goodness. Wow. What kind of research did you put in for this, and especially in terms of the historical portions? How difficult was that?
Yeah, that was, it was set in the 60s. So it's different. The 60s in any country are different. Even
Yeah.
if you're writing it set in the United States, you would have to do a lot of research. So I did, newspaper archives and a lot of reading, fiction and nonfiction, documentaries, um, works by historians, a lot of historical works for the partition itself, which is an event that took place 20 years before the story even begins, but it is in the backstory of the characters. So I wanted to get that all accurate, very accurate. So that was my research. I spent a lot of time on research, and there's very little, I think, in the book that shows that I did a lot of research. But that was also my goal, because I felt like I wanted to write historical fiction light, if that's a genre, and sort of it should be, right? That you learn something without even realizing that you've learned something.
Well, I think that makes so much sense too, especially as you are the character-driven writer, is that you know their backstory and their hearts and their traumas. And then that is naturally and organically brought into the characters without having to give a history lesson and, seat everybody in a circle and instruct. So I think that seems like it would work beautifully. And we know that we can find Under the Tamarind Tree in all good bookstores everywhere. Where can we find you?
Oh, I am on my website, which is nigaralamwrites.com. And on social media, I'm mostly on Instagram at Nigar Alam Writes. It's the same on Twitter or X. I don't know what we're supposed to call it. Nigar Alam Writes. So, yeah.
Awesome. It has been a joy and a delight having you, Nigar. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.